Welcome to the cast! This is the very first episode of the Quaranteatro art show. I am Midjon, and I am here to introduce you today's episode of Basic Stage Crafting. We here in Quaranteatro would like to explore different ways of sharing theater arts or the theater arts experience to you during and after the quarantine. Not just through online shows or online staging, but everything else too, even backstage and pre-production work. In this very first episode, we will be showing you how to make miniature stages using different techniques in painting and building using everyday household items. From custom-built stages to recreations of famous stages, we will explore all different styles and arts of theater building. Today we will be following my friend's custom set, and you can follow along as he does it. You never know. Maybe one day somebody will actually stage a set you made. For the materials that you will be using, you will need a ruler, a set of pencils, all sorts of cardboard, big and small, glue, scissors, a cutter, acrylic paints, paintbrushes, and sand. And if you don't have the complete materials at home, any substitute would do. Just use your imagination. Let's begin!
So here we go. First, we are going to cut out a piece of the cardboard based from the reference of the floor plan I made. I can basically talk about floor plans all day, but instead I'll save it for a later episode in this series. As you can see, I have the shape of the stage, and now I'm going to cut a hole in it based on the floor plan I made. This is to act as a lower level. I'm not going to damage the cutout piece as I'm still going to use that. Instead, I take the piece and I duplicate it. Actually, I trace and duplicate a fatter version of it. By the way, if you'd like to see more episodes on how to make sets in this channel, leave a comment on this video. Then I'm going to stick them together with glue. Going back to the floor plan, as you can see, I've designed a thick wall facing this way, and I'm going to use cardboard for that. Now, I want to put a bend, or rather, a sharp turn to this wall based on the floor plan, and that's pretty easy to do. All you need is a ruler and a cutter to cut the cardboard, without cutting through it to the other side. Basically, just enough that when you bend it, it starts to take shape. When that works, now duplicate it to make it a thicker wall and just glue those pieces together. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more content, guys. Leave a like as well. Now moving on to the next set piece, which are the stairs. This should be quite easy. I basically just follow the size of what the stairs need to be and duplicate that to about 4 steps high before gluing them together. Then, for the landing, I did something interesting and I made an L shape for it instead, just so the next flight of stairs are easier to attach. At the top of the flight of stairs, I cut out a longer piece as to act as a hallway floor leading to the back. Take note, I shot this entire video of me making this miniature set to perfection for about 3 days. It's not an easy build, but it is worth it. Going back to the wall, I realized it's taller than I expected, so I decided to cut it shorter. I also noticed that the stage is unbalanced now, so I cut out cardboard pieces and made cardboard legs for it to stand on. Moving along, notice how the inside of all the cardboards have wavy shapes inside it. Well, we're going to use that to our advantage and make beautiful columns out of it. What I've done is I've skinned the first layer of the cardboard to expose the wavy shapes, and I've cut it long enough to make a tube. For one of the columns, I decided to get creative again and cut its original height in half to make it a broken column. As we wait for those to dry, I've come back to the main stage and started cutting the front walks to slide slightly downward. I've adjusted a lot of pieces to fit correctly. Okay. So going back to the columns, para mas bonggang-bongga siya tignan, let's add some effect by cutting out squares and circle pieces for its ends and then glue them in place. Repeat this for both ends of the column and for all the columns. So guys, habang nangyayari ito, kamusta naman kayo? Kumain na ba kayo? Char! May pa-questionnaire si Madam. Joke lang. So ayun, binawasan ko na yung columns kasi naging masyado ng matangkad. Too tall grizzly. Alright, so now as we've completely done all the sets, we have to cover up all the messy things we've made using paper. Or even better is magazine paper. This is basically just to hide all the wavy lines of all the pieces of cardboard so that when it's painted, people can actually take your design seriously. Ayan na si Ma'am, kino-cover up na lahat ng mistakes niya. Gaya nung gusto natin makalimutan na si X, di ba? Char! Merong ganong usapan habang nag-art show. Paano yun, te? At saka hindi lang glue ang makakapag-cover up sa mga mistakes natin. Kailangan dyan paglilimot. O kaya epoxy. Charot lang. Pati sa hagdan gagawin din natin yon dahil ayaw natin matisod na naman at ma-fall sa arms ng maling tao. Char! Joke lang. Ay! So ayan, we've completely covered up all the spots and we can see the set take shape. But before we paint it, we must go into detail with everything now, such as putting windows on the wall and adding brick effects. For the windows, I've chosen cathedral windows, which makes zero sense as I'm narrating it now kasi there are columns and that's like pre-Catholic things. But anyway, as you can see, I adjusted to be the right size and I box cut a hole in the back of the wall so light can stream easily into those windows when I cut it out. It's oddly satisfying to watch the windows be cut out. Now moving along, we cover up some of the mess with more magazine paper and even cardboard for when you want it to be a little more tough. Like for the stairs, I just fold the piece in the middle and trace the steps so I know where to cut the board. Underneath it, I've attached a small piece as a leg to stand on. Now, pro tip is to make the windows beautiful as well, like adding a cross in it and adding a piece of extended brick underneath it. And while we're talking about bricks, let's detail the walls with it as well, by cutting thin strips of thinner cardboard and chopping bricks out of it before gluing them to position on the wall, like so. Dikit na dikit, parang nung honeymoon phase bago kayo nag-break ng ex mo, no? Lord! Add some to the stairs as well. Now, to add some detail, when it dries, spread glue all over the bricks and slide wavy lines all over it using a stick or the edge of something like this cutter handle. And then when that dries, I swear to you, it's going to look promising once we paint it. Which brings us to now. Take out your acrylic paints and search for your favorite color palettes on Google to choose from. This is what I'll use, so I have to decide where the colors go. So for the set mismo, I'm going to paint it the second darkest shade. With the brick wall and stairs, it's going to be the darkest shade. And the columns will be the light shade with the lightest shade for dry brushing. But before all that, anything you want to paint in a bright color, you have to paint white first. So that applies to these columns. For the half column, I want it to look sick, so I've decided to cover up the whole top with cardboard. And then proceed to add glue all over that top piece before applying sand. Luckily, I found wood dust from a wood shop, and that already works for me as sand material. I wait for that to dry and then tap it carefully to take out the sand that didn't have a chance to stick. Proceed painting. We move on to dry brushing. What dry brushing is having your brush relatively dry but still holding paint. Just enough that when you brush it on a surface, it will look scratchy and unsmooth. This works all the time for detailing, and you should definitely give it a shot. Now we paint the wall. I first paint it with the darkest shade that I had mentioned, and then I proceed on cleaning its mist spots and such, before I proceed on dry brushing it with brown and white. Watch its effect on it. It makes it look almost not made out of cardboard, and you can see the glue detailing we did earlier. Now let's wait for that to dry before applying its next layers. Now the stage. Forgive me for this part as I make a mistake on video and make the paint too dark, almost as dark as the darkest shade. But this only goes to show that everybody makes mistakes and that it's okay as long as you fix them. Accidents happen. Here I am getting the right shade for it now. I am even encouraged enough to paint the same shade for part of the stairs. For the bricks, I apply all the same layers as of earlier. Now, this comes in quite late in my head, but I decide to roll up some one-ply tissues and glue them into a ball. Then afterwards, I glue 2 of these together and proceed to make more. While those dry, I dry brush the bricks now with a light shade of brown, and then over it, a dark shade of green. Do this as well with the brick wall. I even feel creative enough to detail the stairs more. Now, it looks amazing. For the tissue balls we've put together, stick those on the stairs as handrails to hold on to, along with pieces of thin cardboard to hold them together. Now paint. Right here, I glue all the set pieces together on the set. But before finishing, I just feel like I'm missing something, so I put glue over some corners and add sand to it. Then as that dries, I just add a bit of color to them with paint, and voila! We have our custom set.
And that's how you make a miniature custom set. Tell us in the comments below if you liked it or how well you did yours. Also, leave a comment on what you want our next episodes to be about. We can do stage background design, basic floor planning, props making, and basically anything artsy or theatery. Watch out for upcoming projects, and why not watch previous projects from Quaranteatro, such as On Potok and Danom. And maybe original songs and pieces. Stay safe, everybody, and take care. This is Quaranteatro, taking a bow for now.